It's no secret that the FNaF lore is weird. After UCN, it really went downhill, if we're being honest. But what if I said, we can fix that? This video is my take on how the FNaF lore should have gone after FNaF 6. So, for Ultimate Custom Night, keep it basically the same. The cutscenes, they're alright, I guess. Same with the secrets like the Fredbear jump scare, the hippo stories, the Old Man Consequences thing, those things can stay the same. We're just going to change it so that Castiel lets Afton die and goes to heaven herself. This way both Golden Freddy and Afton are gone. In VR, once again we can keep the main game the same, but we can have Glitchtrap be an intentional character put in there by Fazbear Entertainment. And, wasn't scanned in by Springtrap's chip, or however that worked. We can get rid of that whole chip thing too, it's dumb. Glitchtrap would be created by collecting coins and beating levels. We could keep the tapes, but instead of being about Glitchtrap, they could be about a serial killer that seems to be following in the footsteps of the famous killer William Afton. So William Afton is kind of like DB Cooper in the FNaF universe. We know he got stuck in Spring Bonnie and eventually died in FNaF 6, and Henry knew that, but he's dead. But the people in the universe, they don't know that. Word got out that he was the killer of the children, and, everything that went bad in Afton Robotics, but they don't know that he died. People are debating whether this new killer is the real Afton or someone inspired by him. Now, the only real retcon that's going to come out of this game is that Fazbear Entertainment never went bankrupt after FNaF 6. Henry thought the company would be fine since William was out of the picture. Oh, and also, Help Wanted wouldn't retcon the games to be actual games, they would still be real events. That part was so stupid. The game would end with the reveal that Fazbear Entertainment have begun building a mega pizzaplex, much like how it was in the holiday update of Help Wanted. How that showed the creation and building of the pizzaplex. During the game, you would play as a random player. The game has already finished beta testing, so this is its official release. And you wouldn't play as Vanessa, who's still Vanny in this version, just not connected to Afton in any way. The Dreadbear DLC would also be the same, but it wouldn't have the hidden Vanny mask. Instead, maybe it could have, lore confirming that there's two people inside Golden Freddy. Or, something like that, I don't know. When the game, in real life, gets ported to mobile, Princess Quest would unfortunately be removed, since you don't play as Vanny, and Vanny doesn't even have a connection to William Afton in this version. So, now we're at FNaF AR. The base gameplay would stay the same, but now, since there's a copycat Springtrap killer on the loose, Fazbear Entertainment wouldn't create Springtrap for their delivery service. Instead, they'd stick with characters like the base animatronics, the toys, the fun times, the rock stars, the posh pizzeria, the mediocre melodies, the pre-wizards, and any new characters and skins that Illumix would add. Oh, and the game would be a lot better, by the way. The emails in this game would explain the lack of certain characters, Springtrap, Spring Bonnie, Fredbear, because Fazbear Entertainment wants to start moving away from the bad reputation and start anew. The emails would also tell us about the construction of the pizzaplex, and one brief email would mention the sinkhole problem that's brought up in Security Breach. An email would also talk about an employee that worked for the VR branch of Fazbear Entertainment before working her way up to be a night guard at the distribution center. Her name would be Vanessa, and the emails would hint that she was able to hack the robots to make them kill people, hence the gameplay of FNaF AR. The email would end saying that she's going to be moved up to the pizzaplex once it's completed. And then we can still have some of the emails be about searches on Vanessa's office computer at the distribution center. These would include fur, sewing techniques, and the history of Afton Robotics. The books. The books would take place in a separate universe where Baby is the main villain. Scott would have to make this very clear that they're in a different universe, but some stories can still be used to solve things about the games. We can also get rid of some of the more useless or just plain weird stories. So, we would have one or two less books. This way, we can keep the stories that focus on actual lore things. This also means the Stitch Wraith epilogues would be longer, so that the entire story could still be told in them. And now we're here, Security Breach. We can keep all the prizes and messages the same. All the big bugs that were present on launch should be non-existent though, since in this timeline Steel Wool isn't forced to rush out the game. Also, Freddy wouldn't malfunction for any lore reason. He just didn't get enough energy before the big show. The messages could help explain this. There are 3 options for who you can play as in this game. Gregory, Vanessa's twin sister, or Sammy, who in the original trilogy of books was Henry's son and Charlotte's brother. We'll go with Sammy since he's the most interesting. In the games, we would change that so he was born after Charlotte. So since we're changing the lore around anyway, let's add some lore. So I'm gonna say Sammy was 15 whenever his father Henry died in FNaF 6, and then 27 in Security Breach. I'm gonna assume Henry was around 60 in FNaF 6, which, if we take off 15 years, Henry would be around 45, which is a possible age for his wife to have a kid. It's weird, I know, but Henry would want to continue on his bloodline so they could renovate the future or whatever. And this is FNaF. Weird stuff happens all the time. And it also isn't real life, so maybe the age you can get pregnant at is different. Maybe you're mid-50s instead of your mid-40s. Well, I can't believe I actually wrote that in the script. But yeah, Sammy's 27 in this game. That way it makes sense whenever he actually destroys the animatronics. He's actually strong and smart. Much like how the past FNaF games were about William's family, this one's about Henry's family. Instead of finding retro CDs, you would find retro logs, which would be audio logs from Henry throughout his life up to FNAF 6 and the fire. They would start with Fredbear's Family Diner, and then, Henry would start to be more and more depressed and old as we make our way up to the FNAF 6 fire, where he explains that he's going to burn everyone, including himself, down and kill everyone. The endings of the game would mainly be the same, minus some smaller changes, such as Gregory being replaced with Sammy in all the endings. In the Leave at 6 ending, unlike Gregory, who's homeless, Sammy would have a home to return to. And just like in the actual ending, Vanny would track Sammy down and presumably kill him. The Burn Trap ending wouldn't exist, since Afton died in the FNAF 6 fire, so he isn't here. The Princess Quest ending wouldn't exist either, since Princess Quest doesn't exist in this universe. Also, just like in the original Security Breach, every ending would be in comic form, minus the canon ending. And we wouldn't have that stupid star system that's really confusing. During the game, it would be revealed that Sammy wasn't close to his father at all, and that he pushed himself away from his father later on in life. If you played as Gregory, the story would be pretty much the exact same as regular Security Breach, but there would be less hints or red herrings towards the whole Gregbot theory. For example, Freddy would say injured instead of broken at the beginning of the game.
I feel you are broken. No, I feel that something is wrong.
Your arm is cut badly, and I am detecting blood.
If you played as Vanessa's twin sister, you would have used the fact that you two look the same to get a security guard position. The game would either end with you dying or saving Vanny, or I don't know. Vanny having a twin sister in this game would also explain the VR sisters from Fury's Rage. But I still think Sammy is our best option, even if it doesn't really make sense with the rest of the timeline, so let's get back to him. Instead of Princess Quest arcade machines, there would be Puppets Quest arcade machines, very original name. Once you played all three, it would open a giant prize box in the prize counter, which would reveal a Glamrock puppet. The player would need to do this to get to the game's ultimate good ending, where you free Charlotte and Henry's souls from the Pizzaplex and reunite with them in the afterlife. You would free Charlotte by releasing and burning the Glamrock puppet from its indestructible box. You would release Henry by collecting and listening to all the retro logs. And the mom, well, she didn't die at a Freddy's location, so she doesn't require any saving. Think of this process as getting the family their happiest day. Now, if you're wondering why I think bringing back these characters would be okay, in the normal Security Breach, almost everyone from the FNAF 6 fire came back. So I think bringing back Charlotte and Henry so they can get their happiest day would be fine. In the canon ending of the game, you would have to travel down to the burned-down pizzeria, like in the normal Security Breach. The rubble outside the pizzeria is so bad that you have to leave behind Freddy, and navigate through the vents to get to the FNAF 6 office. Once you got into the vents, a cutscene would play, showing Vanny coming down and kidnapping Freddy, so that she can install a chip into his neck to give him a virus. From there, you would use the way out planned for you to get to Vanny's lair. Once you get there, the scene where Glamrock Freddy gets hacked would play. He would chase Sammy through the part of the FNAF 6 pizzeria where Henry was, but now filled with old relics and machinery, partially thanks to Vanny, and partially thanks to something else I'll explain later. After some puzzles, you would trap Freddy in a room and burn him, frying the virus chip. You would then escape the area and return to Vanny's lair. Vanny is blocking the exit, and you'd have a final boss battle with her, with the other shadowed animatronics present as well. Eventually, you would defeat Vanny, but get cornered by the Glamrocks. But then, melted, shattered Glamrock Freddy would come in and save you. He would take out the foundations of the lair, bringing it down and sacrificing himself to buy Sammy more time. Sammy would manage to escape and burn down the mall, and instead of leaving the fire, he would stay, joining his family in the afterlife. So yeah, I think that's every major thing from Security Breach dealt with. Now the final part of the lore, as of now. Tales from the Pizzaplex. These stories can still exist, but can't include any mention of Burn Trap or the Blob. The epilogues could actually explain the origin of Vanny's lair. The Pizzaplex owners wanted to turn the FNAF 6 location into an attraction. Similarly to the first epilogue in the Real Lallies game, but instead of a museum, it's an attraction. But they had to stop the project when their workers kept disappearing when they went down there. Vanny. They could also mention the origins of the Glamrock puppet, and how it's made out of parts from the original puppet that was in the FNAF 6 fire. Hence why Charlotte's soul is possessing it. From a VR game hinting towards a mysterious rabbit killer, to an AR game teasing a giant mall, ending with a long-awaited family reunion, that was my take on how the FNAF lore should have gone after FNAF 6. This video was pretty large, so I hope you guys enjoyed it. I'm sure I forgot something I wanted to mention in the video, or there's some big lore point I forgot to address, but I covered all the main points I wanted to talk about, so I'm satisfied. I'm gonna go rest now, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.